My home state of Wisconsin has more than its fair share of beautiful lakes, breathtaking bluffs, picturesque rivers, sprawling farmlands, and vital industry. There's so many cool places to go and so many neat things to see, from the Packers, Badgers, Brewers, and Bucks. Well, there's always something to do. But that said, Wisconsin also has a bit of a dark side. And when it comes to serial killers and true crime cases, well, we don't disappoint. This case takes us around Fond du Lac, and I'm covering the Halloween Killer. Picture, if you will, in your mind, you're 9 years old, it's 1973, and it's Halloween. Oh boy. All day long at school, there was tricks or treats among your peers, maybe a classroom party with punch and cupcakes and a scary film strip to watch. But best of all, maybe you got to wear your costume to school and participate in a Halloween parade. It was a great time of year, the best time of year, and one of the best school days of the school year, if it fell on a weekday, that is. Remember the excitement as a child at that age in Halloween? I do. And we couldn't wait to get home and go out trick-or-treating, almost every kid's favorite thing to do. But back then, you didn't really have to worry about things as much as you do now. We were told not to go to the houses that had porch lights off and don't eat candy until Mom checked it. We went without adult supervision, except maybe the little kids. But when we were 8, 9, 10 and up, we went with our friends or by ourselves. No one gave it much thought, no one gave a shit. There were no set hours either. Teens could be out as late as 10, 11, 12, even after midnight raising hell. But that was all about to change for Wisconsin. Lisa Ann French was a beautiful, vibrant 9-year-old fourth grader who loved going to school, spending time with her friends and her family, and also enjoyed being active in the Girl Scouts. And on that Wednesday, October 1st, 1973, after school, she had plans to go out trick-or-treating with her friend. As she found out that her friend had been grounded, well, no big deal. She'll go out for a little while by herself. So she donned her hobo costume, her trick-or-treat bag, and headed out the door to get candy. She stopped at her first house of friends. She then stopped at her teacher's house and visited a few minutes more before going on to the next neighbor. She was excitedly approaching the door because she knew this neighbor too, and was happy when she walked up to the porch and yelled, "Trick or treat!" The door opened to 152 Rose Avenue, and Lisa was never seen alive again. The door slightly opened, and Lisa took a step inside with her trick-or-treat bag wide open. She smiles as she sees Gerald. She knows him. His girlfriend has even helped babysit Gerald's kid before. But they were at a Halloween party, so only Gerald was there to hand out candy. Lisa is relaxed, off guard, and unsuspecting. She had no fear. Why would she? They make small talk for a minute or so before Gerald asks Lisa if she would like even more candy. And, like almost any other child would, Lisa says yes. He lured Lisa up to his bedroom, where he brutally sodomized her to death. Brutal murder. A 9-year-old child. A happy, little, trick-or-treating 9-year-old girl. So as I mentioned before, Gerald had a girlfriend, Arlene, and a small child who were attending a Halloween party just down the block. She arrives home just minutes after Gerald had killed Lisa. In fact, the deceased little girl was still in the bedroom. Had she checked, she would have known. Gerald was in a bathrobe. Arlene mentions to Gerald about going to her mom's house. Gerald gives her the excuse that he's not feeling well, that she should go herself. She leaves and comes back yet again after realizing her mom would still not be home for a little bit. Gerald's acting funny. He's sweaty. Gives her the "I'm sick" excuse again. Leaves the living room to go to the bedroom to lie down several times. Again, why did Arlene not check? Anyways, she finally leaves to go to her mother's. After Gerald was sure there'd be no quick return this time from Arlene, he proceeded to put Lisa's body in garbage bags and headed to the outskirts of town. Meanwhile, when Lisa did not arrive home at the 7 p.m. curfew given by her mother, she reported her daughter missing, and by 10 p.m., there was a full-blown search party for her. Just after 10 p.m., a woman named Betty, head of the block parents, a PTA-sponsored group, started calling other block parents, urging them to turn their lights on and put signboards in their windows. Police searched all night, and by the next day, over 5,000 people had joined in the search for little Lisa Ann French. The National Guard joined in with their helicopters circling overhead, and private planes searched the sky. Volunteers on horses searched the fields, Land Rovers scoured the marshes, and police dragged the rivers and lakes. 6,000 copies of Lisa's school photo were printed and passed around, and even local gas stations were offering up to 25 gallons of free gas to anyone using their car to search for young Lisa. It wasn't until 2.5 days later, when Farmer Gerald Brown on his tractor returning home at about 11:30 Saturday morning, when he stumbled upon the 2 garbage bags in the brush along McCain Road just off Highway 49 in the town of Chittita. Lisa Ann French was laid to rest November 6, 1973. The whole community showed up to mourn her. 9 months later, Gerald Miles Turner was arrested. He had been in questioning the whole time, like since 2 days after the murder. And Gerald tried to claim at trial that the confession was not his words. He also stated in his confession that he was highly sexually motivated when Lisa arrived at his door that night. The judge sentenced him to 38 years, and Turner has never expressed remorse. Thank you for watching.
Dane County Sheriff's Office is partnering with local authorities and the Department of Corrections, warning residents of the scheduled release of a convicted killer and sex offender.
The so-called Halloween killer is set to be released next month. News 3's Valina Jones is in the studio with more. Valina?
Well, Charlotte, Gerald Turner's conviction in 1975 led to the creation of the state's sexual predator law. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says now is the time to be proactive with the potential release of a man they fear could reoffend. Gerald Turner, better known by his name, the Halloween Killer, has lived his life behind bars after taking the life of his 9-year-old Fond du Lac neighbor, Lisa Ann French, while she was out trick-or-treating.
It really doesn't get any easier every year.
That was more than 4 decades ago. He spent 38 years behind bars. Still, French's mother feels he's still a risk and started a petition to stop Turner's release.
This man is not normal. He should not be on the streets. I want to help protect the other kids.
And authorities agree.
We are concerned that if Turner returns into the community with what we have seen, that it raises the concern that he could reoffend.
According to Sheriff Mahoney, the 68-year-old was convicted of sexual assault before French's murder in 1972. Turner was granted parole, but it was revoked in 2002 for violating rules of his parole by possessing pornography. If he is released, he plans to move to the Madison area.
I think our best defense at this point is to alert the community of his potential release.
Because Turner has served his full sentence, the Department of Corrections says he won't have any rules of supervision, aside from GPS monitoring.
We can't tell him where he can live or where he cannot live. We just take the information. So essentially, the sex offender registry and GPS is used as a tool to monitor his whereabouts. And essentially, it's a tool for law enforcement to know where he is at, along with the victim and the general public.
French's mother says she's relying on her faith and hopes that Turner will not get a chance to hurt anyone else.
Just prayer that the judge has a brain in his head. I already have faith in God that he's in control.
Now, the Sheriff's Office is working with the town of Madison, Monona, and Middleton Police, along with the Department of Corrections. If released, Turner's GPS signal would alert the DOC every 30 seconds of his whereabouts and any violations. The State Department of Justice filed a petition last week to have Turner civilly committed, arguing that he is a sexually violent person and has the possibility of reoffending. He will remain behind bars until a probable cause hearing scheduled for February 9th.
Valina, thank you.
Today with a first alert, a trial has now been set for the Fond du Lac man known as the Halloween Killer as he seeks release from state custody. Gerald Turner was found guilty of raping and murdering 9-year-old Lisa French on Halloween back in 1975. Gerald Turner completed his sentence. He was released in 1994. Then he had his parole revoked in 2013 for possessing sexually explicit material. Turner completed his sentence in 2018, but has been held at a supervised living facility while a fight over his potential release drags on in court. The request has been denied once back in 2022, but a new trial to determine whether Turner can be released safely back into the community has been scheduled for April of next year. We will keep you posted. Now,